Ah, the toilet. For some of us, it's the best place in the house, but we don't really spend a lot of time in it. And then there's some who have a lot of problems, or a lot of time on their hands with their phone. Not that we want to, of course, but today we're going to be looking at people who were forced to spend more time than usual in this room, quite literally stuck to the toilet seat. Here are 10 people who got stuck in toilets. Number 10. Prank gone wrong. Some pranks are just good, harmless fun. And then there's those pranksters that clearly don't realize that sometimes they cross the fine line between harmless fun and hurtful act. You know, kinda like pointing an AK-47 at a young child and claiming it was a prank. Though thankfully this one is a lot less extreme. 40-year-old Iana de la Cure was shopping at the local Home Depot when she felt the need to use the bathroom. She went in, did her business, and then she attempted to stand up, but quickly found that she couldn't. Her skin was bonded to the toilet seat, no thanks to some prankster smearing super glue all over the toilet seat. It took 25 minutes before someone noticed her predicament. Of course, paramedics had to be called to aid the poor woman. She had to go through the embarrassing ordeal of having emergency responders detach the seat from her butt while store employees peeked in to watch the strange procedure. Her sister, who was out shopping with her, recorded the entire event on video. I will say though, it took a lot of WD-40 to separate her from the toilet seat. But even so, the entire ordeal was quite painful, poor woman. Number 9. 2 days in the pit. This unfortunate slim fellow from Uyong County in Inner Mongolia stinks because he had just spent 2 whole days trapped in a latrine pit. Yes, that's right. When using the facilities, the man fell into the outhouse hole and was stuck there for a staggeringly long 48 hours. Mind you, that entire time he was yelling for help as he was covered in everybody's feces. There's getting your arm stuck in a toilet and getting stuck in a nasty river mud. And then there's this. This just goes way above and beyond. According to witnesses, the first thing this man did after firefighters lowered a ladder down to the crapper to get him free was run to the closest body of water and start washing himself. Which I don't blame him because I think that's what I'd do personally. Also maybe do an exorcism on my entire body. Number 8. Between a rock and a hard place. To all you happily married guys out there, I do have a question for you. If you somehow drop your wedding ring into the toilet, would you literally risk your limb to retrieve it? It's kinda like being stuck between a rock and a hard place, hence the title. You'll literally have your hands deep in crap if you do, and you'll definitely get a whole lot of crap from your wife if you don't. So then, what do you do? Well, this guy from China chose the former, and he got more than a handful of crap for his trouble. Firefighters had to be called in to rescue this poor man who had his hand stuck in a toilet because he accidentally dropped his wedding ring in there. The man, known simply as Zhang, had reportedly decided to have a shower in his work changing room in Guangzhou, in the Fujian province. So this poor, soon-to-be doomed man took off his ring to avoid losing it. However, in a bizarre twist of events, as he began to wash, he dropped the ring and watched in despair as it rolled into the squat toilet nearby. In a desperate bid to keep his marriage intact, red-faced Zhang rushed to try and fish it back out, but ended up getting his arm stuck in the U-bend of the toilet. Number 7. Don't drink and use your phone in the toilet. Toilets seem to be a magnet for very expensive and important things. In the previous entry, it claimed a wedding ring. This time it was an iPhone 8. Since this happened in 2018, that phone was still very much expensive. So, when this man dropped his precious phone into one of those squatting toilets that are popular in China, you know, I'm kinda starting to see a trend here, he felt it was worth getting stuck just to get his phone back. And get stuck he did. Now, I'm guilty of checking my phone in the toilet all the time, but apparently the guy had been drinking with his friends that night, so his hand-eye coordination wasn't at its best. Determined not to let the money literally go down the drain, he stuck his arm inside to retrieve the device. You can see where this part's going. The man spent around 20 minutes trying to get himself free, determined not to call for help for fear of being embarrassed. But since his arm, now shoulder deep in the toilet, had swollen, he realized he wasn't getting out without any help. A janitor found him on the floor of the bathroom and called emergency services, who of course had to dismantle the toilet just to set him free. After all that though, he still failed to get his phone back. Don't drink and poop, kids. Number 6. Just get a new set. This 85-year-old grandmother from, where else, China, accidentally dropped her dentures into one of those squatting toilets yet again. But instead of just getting a new set made, she stubbornly tried to get them back, and shoved her arm straight down to the U-bend. Of course, her arm got stuck, and no matter how hard she tried to pull it free, it was all an exercise in futility. Poor grandma had to wait for her family to come home and to help her out. When even help from the family failed, they called the fire brigade, who used soapy water to lubricate her arm. It took 4 long hours for her to finally be free, but like the iPhone, the toilet kept the dentures. Probably a good thing, because I feel like that isn't healthy. Number 5. Charged up toilet. And yet another stuck-up story from China. China, you got weird food, you got interesting customs, and you got a lot of people stuck in toilets. Like all who came before her, she thought it was a great idea for her to stick her arm down the toilet to retrieve the lost battery. However, like all those who came before her as well, her arm got totally stuck. One thing that makes this case unique, though, is that the woman was in a definitely dangerous situation. You see, her arm was so stuck far down the toilet, blood circulation to her arm was actually impeded. The firefighters needed 40 minutes to get the stuck arm out, and it is a good thing that they came just in time. It was later explained that if her arm stayed that way for any longer, she would have lost her arm, so it's a good thing they came before then. Number 4. Not what a training potty is for. Ask any parent who's had a kid and they'll tell you that potty training is one of the hardest things a parent would have to face. You need to have the right equipment, the patience, and the right disposition in order to train your kid to use a toilet properly. This saves you quite a bit of money from diapers. However, every potty training session will have certain difficulties, some easy, some, well, you'll need help from paramedics. This is exactly what happened to Oscar Clare. 2-year-old Oscar somehow managed to get his head stuck in a trainer toilet seat while he was playing in the family bathroom. His mom wet his hair, poured olive oil, and rubbed butter on him, but to no avail. She was eventually forced to drive him to the local fire station where firefighters used snippers to cut Oscar free. Number 3. It's a leg this time. After a bit of a break from it, we go straight back to China for another sticky toilet situation. And yet again, the culprit is one of those terrible squat toilets that seem to be very popular there. But this story is a bit different from the rest. For one, nothing valuable fell into the toilet but for the, stuckness. And 2, it's not an arm that was stuck this time. No, it was a leg. It wasn't clear how the woman got her leg stuck in the first place, but this could be the most painful case yet. You see, it was very possible that she slipped and her leg is jammed into the toilet. The entire foot up to the ankle was stuck, so I'm positive that great forces were involved here. Her foot bent at such an angle that no matter how she tried, she couldn't successfully pull it out. Fortunately for her, she didn't have to wait long for help. She had her phone with her, so she was able to call for help immediately. And this time, the phone didn't even fall in the toilet. Now it's time for the day's best pick. It's good to see that getting stuck in toilets is a universal thing. And honestly, it could happen to any of us. Find out more about this story next with number 2. Medic needs a medic. Before doing research for this video, I never realized that getting stuck in toilets was a regular occurrence. Every year, apparently, medics are dispatched to help hundreds of individuals hopelessly stuck in the loo. And yes, a few of them are actually medics themselves. Gracie Henderson dropped her bracelet into her toilet one day, causing it to get blocked. Instead of calling a plumber, though, she decided to get the bracelet herself by reaching inside the toilet with her arm. She figured the bracelet was just somewhere there, that she could feel around for it and get it herself. And then wash her hands. Though, given this list, I think we all know that didn't go as planned. She did make the rookie mistake of not taking her watch off when she shoved her hand inside the U-bend. Now, it's not only her bracelet that's in her toilet, her watch was stuck down there too. The problem is the watch was still attached to her arm. She of course had to call 911, which was already embarrassing in itself, but even made more so by the fact that she was a medic. The shame rose exponentially when her rescuers told her that they would have to detach the toilet and take it out to the yard in order to safely extract her hand. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. 2 years on the hot seat. If you think 2 days in a latrine pit is bad enough, imagine sitting on a toilet for 2 long years. And yet, that's exactly what one woman did, even eating and sleeping inside the bathroom for what has to be something of a world record. The weird thing is, she wasn't forced to do so at all. She was living with her boyfriend, and police originally thought that she was held hostage, but she wasn't tied up or glued to the toilet seat in any way. Well, not glued in the traditional sense of the word, at least. You see, it was her choice not to leave the toilet for reasons undisclosed. Her boyfriend still took care of her though, bringing her food and drinks every time she wanted it. She sat on the throne for so long that her skin developed bed sores, which then fused to the toilet that she was sitting on. Her legs wasted away as well. Finally, after 2 long years, her boyfriend decided to call the police for help. They were forced to take her to the hospital while still attached to the toilet seat, where it had to be surgically removed. Have you ever found yourself in a similar sticky situation? Let us know down below in the comments. Also, make sure to check out the channel's other amazing videos as well. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!